Tonight, it's the season 23 premiere of South Park, and we've got a lot of things. We've got kids in detention centers. We've got a Golden Towley episode. But more importantly, Steph, we've got Tegrity. The South Park after show starts now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello! Welcome to the South Park after show. Not a link where you can actually watch the new episode of South Park. Sorry, everybody waiting in the chat.
I'm so sorry.
But stick around. We'll ruin the show for you and tell you everything that happened. But for those of you who already watched it, we're glad you're here. I'm Christian Bladt. So excited to be back with my pal, Steph Sabraw.
What's up, you guys? This is our third season doing the after show together. I'm in the live chat, so if you're here, let's talk about the episode and what you liked, didn't like.
And if what you didn't like is us, please tell that too.
Yeah, we love it.
It's fine. Hate. We're used to it. Anyway, just overall thoughts, Steph. Just off the top of your head, what did you think of the episode?
I thought it was a really solid premiere. I've been really excited about it. I actually didn't see that much promo in anticipation for the new season.
I saw a really short commercial, which was Kyle's dad Gerald explaining that he didn't have his passport. That's all I saw.
But the best, I knew it was going to be a play on ice, but I was really, really excited when they opened up on Tegrity Farms.
Yeah, I mean, this was I agree. This was a strong episode, and as I mentioned in the open, this was a great Towley episode. And it's so funny because when you think back when we first met Towley, at the end of that episode, Cartman's like, "You're the worst character ever," and he's just like, "I know." But what they've managed to do with Towley is pretty amazing. And yeah, let's talk about the way the episode started. So we got a version of the South Park theme. That was the Tegrity Farms theme.
I'm so here for it.
Yeah, and if they want to do that the rest of the season, that's fine. I feel like they probably won't. And I love Farmer Randy. We have talked so much on the show about how much I love Randy in all of his different personalities. And Randy as Lord might be my favorite, but talk a little bit about Farmer Randy and what you thought while we watched him.
Farmer Randy is iconic. I do think Lord Randy is number one.
Yeah.
But I love Farmer Randy. I love the whole storyline of Tegrity Farms. This one, we got a little different dimension of him, though, because he started to become crazy. But that's always what happens with Randy's phases.
Oh, yeah. No. Something happens to Randy, and I think he overreacts and immediately commits several felonies. Same thing. What do you think this was, Judge Judy? So he commits several felonies. And, this is no different. But usually he ends up way over his head. Just running Tegrity Farms in and of itself. But it was just interesting that they had, the whole family, the Marsh family had moved to Tegrity Farms. And we'll talk about Cartman in a moment. He's sort of lamenting how everything's different because Stan moved away.
I know.
But just watching the inner workings of Tegrity Farms, I know there was one of the things you liked is that they give tours. And that's one of our favorite lines from the episode. Do you remember what Randy says?
We only give tours 11, 2, and 420.
Yeah, that's right. And they refer to the fact that they're here in the beautiful 420 Valley.
I love the play on that. And I love them bringing in MedMen.
Yeah.
Because we actually have that in LA. I think there's 2 different locations.
Yeah.
It's completely corporate, which I love them talking about the corporation aspect of the marijuana business.
Yeah, and Steph would never buy her weed at MedMen, so just keep that in mind. Unless they wanted to sponsor the show, in which case we love MedMen. In any case, I think that one of the things that we got too was just watching kind of the weed business. Mm-hmm. And I just like that, he goes to, that was Butter's dad's house that he goes to at the beginning, Steven, and he's like, well, I just brought you your regular delivery of weed.
Love the packaging too,
right?
Randy. Great work.
Yeah, well, he's very proud of his industry that he's a part of, and I thought that just the idea of just his reaction to the homegrown weed and the fact that Mr. Mackey's like, I want to get some seeds, okay, and just obviously Randy goes full Randy. He's infuriated. And one of the lines that I really liked from the episode is from that early part where he says, "When you grow your own, you take weed out of my children's mouths." And that's such a Randy thing to say. You know, because, and by the way, he's right.
He's right. He's absolutely right. It's so messed up of them to have the audacity.
And, of course, when he sees Diego, the housekeeper, there's only one thing that Randy can do, and that's call ICE. And the idea that there are detention centers that families can be sent to is kind of an awakening for our friend Eric Cartman. Because earlier in the episode, he's talking about how terrible everything is now. You know, Stan moved, everything's changing. You know, his generation is inheriting all these problems that they didn't cause. You know, something sort of ripped from this week's headlines, this idea.
But like you mentioned, that seemed the most current thing ripped. I think they added that line.
I think they added that line. Yesterday. And then also Stan, when he's reading this prepared statement about homegrown weed is destroying the industry. I think that that's basically a play on, what's her name, Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
I always want to call her Greg Grunberg, the actor.
Her speech, if you guys don't know, to the UN addressing climate change.
And, you know, look, her parents are incredibly wealthy climate scientists. So, you know, did she have any choice in that being her passion? I believe she feels strongly about it. But I think that is in there. That tone is in there. But this is, you know, I think Train Matter definitely.
Or what they're pulling from.
They're going for that. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't really matter what's in reality. They're like, oh, this is kind of funny. Let's do this.
There's an irony in it.
Yeah.
That they're playing off of.
Right. But, you know, I mean, look, somebody had to pay for her solar-powered boat that she took from Sweden to the United States. And, you know, so obviously there's some vested interest in there. And I was just imagining now we can get an episode where Cartman's on a solar-powered boat. Just put it out there.
That is a great idea. That we can agree on.
I don't know. Is there anything... We can't be surprised by Cartman anymore. But... even I was just like, oh, man, he would really love it. He's just sitting there with the binoculars, eating popcorn, and watching ICE show up at Kyle's house.
Regardless if he was mad at the current state of where things are, he would have called ICE on someone.
Oh, yeah. Right. It just depends.
This is so his game.
Yeah. And honestly, even if he wasn't mad at someone, I mean, obviously he hates Kyle. That makes perfect sense.
100%.
But if Kyle was out of town, he would have called on Kenny.
Anyone. He
Probably
would have called
Kenny,
it on his mom.
Oh, totally.
Maybe not her, but if she
yeah.
pissed him off and didn't get him the right gift, yeah, hell yeah.
Right, exactly. So that would have been funny because then that's how he would have ended up in the detention center. But anyway, and I don't know, it's just every once in a while Cartman does something that's so Cartman, and that's what this was. And yes, it's in the real world, it's horrible to hear about families being torn apart by ICE. On South Park, it's very funny. And, you know.
No, but it was sad. When Ike was crying, that was the bit of realism that they were like, you guys are monsters. Like, these babies are getting separated from their parents.
Yeah, and just offhanded, Kyle mentions he has no idea where Ike is. He hasn't seen it. And he is actually an immigrant. He's Canadian. I actually thought that was going to come up in the episode. Yeah. So... what do you think? Do you think this is a story that's going to continue in weeks ahead? And maybe we'll be like, oh, where is Ike? Or they'll just forget about it next week.
I don't think they will. I would be surprised because it's still obviously one of the most important issues right now, but it isn't as big of a headline as it was a few months ago or even before the court ruling ruled against it and they had to be reunited.
Yeah, I mean, it's still happening. You know,
yeah, it's still happening, but I think there's different things, like the impeachment is probably going to be next week.
You know, it's only Wednesday now, so you're predicting what's going to happen between now and next Tuesday night when they stay up all night and do the episode. So really, it could be anything. That's true. You know, but... And would Mr. Garrison get impeached? You know, so these are all important questions to worry about. But just seeing Kyle in the detention center was you know that's the realism part of it, and then we get the joke part of it, which is, wait a minute, you're Jewish? How did a Jew get in here? We got to get him out of here, otherwise people are going to think we're racist. And just the non-ironic way.
Statement.
And then also Kyle trying to explain, oh, I'm just here because some fat asshole doesn't like me. And then all the Mexican kids said, yeah, us too. And
that's one of my favorite South Park lines in a long time.
It was
so smart, so funny,
relevant. even like an average episode of South Park usually has that one moment where you're like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
There's
that
no
was
better way to
perfect.
say it. And let's bring it around to the title of this episode, which is a very important concept, Mexican Joker.
Please make a movie out of this.
Yes, actually. I've actually met a Mexican Joker at I think it was at the LA Comic-Con. I forget what his actual screen name is, but I follow him on Instagram, so I see him once in a while.
We needed to find him before this.
Yeah, but I forgot, and
Someone find him
look,
for us.
I don't have Tegrity, all right? I used to have Tegrity. I don't anymore. But just give us your thoughts about this concept that the ICE agents were so worried about creating Mexican Joker.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny because I think it speaks to a larger point that oftentimes we miss the point of someone's argument and go for a solution that isn't even needed if you prevented the action of the consequence you're trying to prevent. So I think it's so ironic. It's so telling of what we oftentimes do in society, and it was done in such a funny way because they ended up he killed both of the people he was with by the end of it. So I loved it, and I thought, what was Ted? I wrote it down.
You had his name. Yeah.
I wrote it down because I was wondering if he
kills
real...
the two agents because he wants Mexican Joker to be
Jeff
like, look,
Corrigan.
Yeah.
I thought for sure that'd be a real person because they usually don't
you're thinking
include...
of Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. It's not. He was not involved in this, but close. In any case, what I was thinking was that, just this concept of Mexican Joker, I thought was so funny, and the way everybody was so scared of it. But we also had the puppet show of Mexican Joker and Princess, I don't remember what her name, Princess Star.
That was too far.
That was too far. So the fact that Mexican Joker proceeds to rape the puppet on his other hand in front of horrified children.
5 seconds.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's Mexican Joker.
That was when I kind of had to look away. It was like, these puppets shouldn't be disturbing me this much.
Imagine how Princess Star felt,
I'm with you, Princess Star.
Well, I'm glad, yeah. I am not with you, Mexican Joker. I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
The fact that he was telling the kids that as if it would have some sort of positive results.
Well, yeah, and then you have the other guy that's doing the electroshock therapy because it's like, I feel like that's going to help alleviate the trauma.
And then the point wasn't that is so disturbing and messed up what we're doing to these kids. It's we don't have the budget for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like we can't do electroshock because, we can't
Which
afford
I
to.
feel like in some people in the government, that would be the reasoning to stop detainment. These detention
because we
centers,
can't afford it.
Because
yeah,
we can't afford it,
absolutely.
not because of the morality of the issue.
I don't care about anybody's politics, in all honesty, but morality is a kind of lack of morality is a bipartisan issue. You don't get into politics if you're, big national politics. You don't get into trying to become president or Speaker of the House if you've got Tegrity. But let's talk, before we move up back to Tegrity, let's talk about the fact that who ends up in the detention center himself but Eric Cartman. How did you feel when you saw Cartman getting off that bus?
It's a hard knock life. I felt so good about it. I love when his plan backfires on him.
Yeah.
That's what he deserved.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But then he was just such a little privileged dick about it once he was in there, being like, let's make the best of this.
Yeah. And he just keeps trying to sing Hard Knock Life. And I thought that you had an actual... Look, for Cartman, it was the most human that you've seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
There's the moment where he realizes, like, oh, no, this is a camp. And oh, no, I really should have thought about it for 2 more minutes and I could have gotten you back another way. Were you surprised that he actually realized the morality of what he did?
Yes, absolutely. I thought he would say, oh, you're Jewish and this is a camp. Yes, I did it.
I thought that he would be like, oh, I feel terrible. He's like, except it's hysterical. I thought there was going to be that.
There wasn't. What's going on?
You know what? He'll always surprise us. That's the thing. Well, not always, but there are times where Cartman will surprise you. So I thought that was great. And look, it was a nice touch that Kyle figured out that if he converts all the Mexican kids to Judaism, they were going to have to be let go. So
that was really funny. That was a great punchline.
If only kids in the actual detention centers were able to see this episode, and then they could all convert, and then they might be able to go home too. Look, whatever it takes. I'm just, I'm just putting it out there.
We need to broadcast it.
Yeah.
somehow.
Well, yeah, they don't get South Park, but I think they get this show.
Yeah.
So, well, we're on YouTube.
That would make sense.
I'm sure that they let kids watch YouTube. Anyway.
Speaking of YouTube, though, if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure that you like and leave us a comment so we can keep the conversation going. But thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk here at AfterBuzz. We love being able to talk about our favorite TV shows like South Park.
Yeah.
And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to leave us a review. 5 stars.
That's right.
That's our other favorite way to communicate.
We need 5 stars. And I was just going to say something and I stopped myself.
I almost did that too today.
Even I was just like, you know what? Even though this is the South, but it's just not worth it. Sometimes. It's 2019.
It is what it
Sometimes
is.
things aren't worth making the joke. If it was a funnier joke, I would have said it. But anyway, so yeah, and if you're watching the episode after the fact, please leave comments. If any of you have watched shows that I've done, I always get super involved in the comments. And if you hate me, I'm going to really write back to you probably a lot. So please share. But be nice to Steph because only I get to make fun of her.
Yeah, I'm fragile.
Yes.
I'm a snowflake.
Isn't that right, Heidi?
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of wrap it up by talking a little bit more about Tegrity Farm. So we talked about the fact that MedMen were involved.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Randy going around and basically committing arson at everybody's house. And
Yeah, but we didn't really get into that.
Yeah, so talk about how he decides to fix this. So he gets, and by the way, there is a moment where in the background we're hearing, it's not literally the Godfather theme.
It is,
because they would have to pay for it. So
Yeah.
it's a variation on the Godfather theme, that last scene that we have.
Very Godfather.
So give us your thoughts about how Randy solves his problem in true Randy fashion.
Him just blowing people up
Yeah.
is so Randy. Very efficient way to get what you want. Very psychotic, but it was hilarious. And the ending scene where it is a really Godfather like scene, and he's like, I get to keep my family fed, and all of this is a funny play on any sort of drug business that you enter. Even if it's marijuana, it gets more serious than people think.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's, sure. I mean, marijuana can destroy families just like anything else. Unless Mad Men wants to be a sponsor. Then it's good for the good, clean family food. But the shining moment, the crowning achievement of this storyline for me was Towley, who you pointed out, there's something different about Towley in this episode.
His eyes weren't red.
So he wasn't getting high.
That's so messed up.
I felt so bad for him because that's all he really wants to do.
I would never leave Towley not high.
Right. But you know what? He really felt like Randy changed. And you know what? He's right. He's like, you sold out, man. You know, the weed business isn't about making the most money. It's about sharing a gift from God.
Weeds for everyone, he said.
And I do love how that turned into the what do you know? You're just a towel. And then Towley's response, you're a towel. And Randy being Randy really took that to heart. When he's outside the towel store, and he's like, if you're not going to buy a towel, get the hell out of here.
To Sharon, he was like, call me a towel.
Yeah, and Sharon's like, okay, Randy, you're a towel. Best damn towel you ever had, bitch. And it was just like, God damn it, Randy.
Such a good one.
How well does Sharon know him after 23 seasons?
She
It's just
knew
like,
it.
you want me to say this? Fine, I'm going to say it. Now I'm going to walk away because I can't stand you.
Because I am not entertaining this.
Yeah, it's like, fine. But the fact that he took it to heart, that he's not a towel, I thought was great. It's always interesting at the end of a South Park because unless it's specifically like to be continued, you never really know what we're going to get next week. So you had a thought that maybe we'll get something on the impeachment. Mm-hmm. I just want to know when are we going to get some variation on the 24 people who want to be president and Joe Biden
coming.
with the
year,
pooling blood in his eye and stuff like that. Like these are all things I want to see in the season. You know?
Yeah, I guess they
doddering
will do that
old
for sure.
Joe Biden. Who, yeah. So I'd like to see some of that.
Some Meghan McCain action.
Meghan McCain.
Just throw her in randomly.
Yeah, but I think also outside of the realm of politics, we could get Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Oh, yes.
Antonio Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all things that we can see. Yeah. So let us know in the chat what you think we'll get. But whatever it is, we'll be back next week with another episode of the South Park After Show. But until then, Steph, where do people find you?
You guys can find me at Steph Sabraw on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you for tuning in with us.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. And if you do want to talk more about actual politics instead of South Park, you can find me on the Trump Report Tuesdays at 4 Pacific right here on AfterBuzz TV. That is all the time we have for now, but we will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.